Caring for someone with dementia involves more than managing their medical appointments and care. It also involves managing and protecting their finances. Daniel Zagata and Michael Speed with Evershore Financial Group are here to share some great tips. And gentlemen, this is an important subject.
Yes.
Because I know very often we talk about having folks have, health care initiatives and all of that paperwork done, but then we forget about the whole financial part about it. So what can we really learn about what we need to do to get those finances in order?
It's a great question. I think what we encounter the most is that people just lack the planning steps before the event occurs. And we understand why. A lot of it has to do with the subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something people like to deal with, and sometimes it's something from their family or they've just never experienced it. So they delay until that time where they're faced with the event. And that's the wrong time to plan. You don't want to plan when you're going through a grieving process or a new diagnosis or something like that. So we're very big advocates of plan in advance, get your wishes written down, know your assets, your investments, your income, and have that planned out for your loved ones so they know what to do in the event that you have a diagnosis or something like that happens.
And really, what can happen if, the worst does occur and a person doesn't have a plan in place?
The consequences can be quite catastrophic, really. In the city of Orlando alone, the cost of care is staggering. It costs about $114,000 a year just to have a private room in a nursing home.
Oh, gosh.
And if you're one of those people who prefers to have someone come into your home, it's still around $45,000 a year, and that's at today's costs. So at an inflation rate of 5 to 7%, that could double in 10 years. So the prices are staggering, and it's important to start early.
So starting early, here we are, where someone's watching this segment. What's the first thing they need to do?
I think the first step is to sit down and organize everything into one place. Write it down, understand where your assets are, insurance policies you have, income sources. In that way you can make a plan. If I need to go into a facility or care in my home, I know where I'm going to take my money from. Because the other thing too, which a lot of people don't think about, is the taxation. If you're like most Americans, you have large IRAs or things like that, which are the most heavily taxed. So that might not be where you want to pull money from. Instead, you have to look at your overall scenario to understand, what am I going to do if I need to all of a sudden pay, like Mike said, $100,000 or a $45,000 bill a year? And most importantly, who in my family is going to be responsible for writing those checks and managing those assets? Because unfortunately, a lot of people pick a peer. You don't want to pick somebody who's your age to manage your finances at that point, which is really important.
So now both of you gentlemen are financial experts, but do we also need a legal expert?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would say that a legal expert is as important as is a financial expert, and oftentimes we work hand in hand with those legal experts to be able to provide the comprehensive advice that someone's going to need in that kind of a situation.
I mean, it can sound complicated, but it really isn't. It's just taking those steps, taking the time, write it all down, have it in the hands of a professional that knows what they need.
And create a team. You want your team around you, which is your financial professional, your elder care attorney, your CPA, and maybe even a geriatric care manager, but a team around you that talks to each other, that understands your personal needs and what your family wants is really important.
And so now how can folks possibly get in touch with you gentlemen?
Great question. They can go to evershore.com. Also, they can give us a call. Our number is 321-304-4009. But we're always available, and this is very important to us. It's very dear to our hearts to help people at this stage in their life. So any questions or anything, we're always very open to help people.
Absolutely.
And I'll just mention that Dan and I are registered reps of Securian.
Which is good to know. And Daniel and Michael, thank you again for explaining why it is so important to plan for our financial future before a medical crisis occurs. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Carol.